They said, "Come stay with us, Mom. We want you here." And I believed them because love, especially a mother's love, has no brakes, only blind turns and second chances. I packed my memories into a worn-out suitcase, left behind my tiny apartment with its leaky faucet and faded wallpaper, and stepped into their world, a world of granite countertops, quiet suburbs, and the faint scent of lavender air fresheners. At first, it felt like a dream, like life was finally giving something back. My son Michael greeted me with open arms, the same arms that once clung to my neck when monsters hid under his bed. His wife, Kelsey, smiled, all politeness and perfect makeup, and I told myself her cold eyes were just tired from the kids or stress from work. I ignored the distance in her voice, the way her smile never quite reached her eyes, because mothers are good at lying to themselves when it protects the illusion of love. I cooked dinner the first night, meatloaf, his favorite from when he was 10, and though no one touched seconds, I scrubbed the plates with a full heart. The days passed, and I began to notice the cracks in the walls I wasn't supposed to see. They whispered behind closed doors, laughed louder when I wasn't in the room. Kelsey stopped calling me Mom and started saying her. Can you ask her to do the laundry? Did she move my keys again? And Michael, he stayed silent, eyes glued to his phone, thumbs busy texting away as if I were background noise, not the woman who gave him life. But I stayed silent too, because silence is the language of the unwanted, and I had learned to speak it fluently. I told myself, it's temporary. They're just adjusting. I told myself I was being paranoid, emotional, old. But then came the first night they didn't come home. No warning, no call, just a note left on the counter. Work trip. Be back in a few days. Love you. I reread it like scripture, convinced I had missed some hidden message. I cooked dinner anyway. Waited for headlights. Slept with one eye open. 2 days passed. Then 3. Then a week. The food in the fridge began to spoil. My arthritis screamed with the cold. The heater broke and no one answered when I texted. I left voicemails. Long ones. Begging ones. But silence was all that answered, a deeper betrayal than words ever could be. The house, once warm and full of promise, became a mausoleum, a prison of beautiful things wrapped in lies. I lived off canned soup and tap water, wrapped in blankets, holding on to the hope that maybe there had been an accident, that something had happened to delay them. But hope, I learned, is the cruelest thing when it stretches past logic. Then, one crisp November morning, a knock came at the door, not Michael, not Kelsey, but a woman in a wool coat, clipboard in hand, eyes full of confusion. I'm the realtor, she said gently. This house has been sold. Who are you? I didn't understand. I showed her my bedroom, my folded laundry, the empty photo frames I had packed but never hung. She showed me the papers, signed, dated, notarized. They had sold the house. Moved states, perhaps. I was not just left behind. I had been erased, deleted from their lives like a typo, like a stain on white linen. That night, I walked the streets until I found a shelter. It smelled like disinfectant and old shoes. I was given a cot by the wall and a blanket too thin for December. I cried quietly into the mattress, my tears soaking into the silence of 30 other women who had cried the same way. The next morning, I scrubbed bathroom tiles just to earn breakfast. Eggs and dry toast never tasted so hollow. Days bled into weeks. I journaled every night about Michael, about the way Kelsey looked at me, about the lie of family. I wrote so I wouldn't forget myself. I wrote so I wouldn't vanish completely. One night, while I was mopping the cafeteria floor, I heard a woman sobbing in the bathroom. I followed the sound, found her collapsed under the sink, clutching a photo of a smiling boy. Her lips trembled. He said he loved me, then he blocked me. And that's when it struck me like thunder through bone. This pain was not mine alone. It had a name, a face, a pattern. We were an army of the abandoned. Mothers, grandmothers, fathers too. People who gave their lives, their youth, their health, and in return, were ghosted by the very souls they raised. So I did something brave. I read one of my journal entries aloud at group therapy. My hands shook, but my voice didn't. A woman in the back gasped. Another wiped tears. Someone clapped. For the first time in months, I didn't feel invisible. Word spread. People asked me to read more. One day, a young volunteer named Naomi asked if she could record me. "Your story, it matters," she said. I hesitated. What if Michael saw it? What if Kelsey mocked me? But then I remembered. They had already abandoned me. Their silence had already said everything they ever would. So I said yes. The video went online. A week later, strangers stopped me in the street to hug me. One woman said, "Your story saved me from ending mine." Messages flooded in. Women in Florida, men in Ohio, grandmothers from Texas. "I thought I was the only one," they wrote. And I cried again, but this time, the tears washed something clean. I began writing more, telling more. I spoke at community centers, at churches, at podcasts hosted from living rooms. My voice, once buried beneath years of sacrifice, rose like a storm. I wasn't some old lady in the way anymore. I was a storyteller, a survivor, a mirror for the millions who felt unseen. Sometimes I still look at Michael's photo. I remember his little hands in mine, his promises. I don't hate him. I just mourn him like a death that never got a funeral. Kelsey? I barely think of her. But when I do, I hope she finds the kindness she was too afraid to give. As for me, I'm living in a small shared apartment now, not fancy, but warm.